How are you guys doing? Today is Friday, July 2nd, 2021. I'm James Sims, and for this episode of The Elite, I'm going to review the Elite matchups and performances from yesterday, Thursday, July 2nd. And of course, I'm going to follow that up by previewing everything that's going on today as we navigate through the world of sports one day at a time. Starting off with the NBA, with the Western Conference Finals already being set in stone. Yesterday was Game 5 of the Eastern Conference Finals in Milwaukee, as the third seed Milwaukee Bucks were able to beat the fifth seed Atlanta Hawks 123-112 to gain the 3-2 series lead. In this matchup, the difference was the first quarter, as the Bucks would go on to outscore the Hawks by 14 in order to pick up this win. For the Atlanta Hawks, their leading scorer was their starting shooting guard, Bogdan Bogdanovic. He would finish with 28 points and 5 rebounds in 39 minutes. He shot 10 for 22 from the field, 7 for 16 from 3, and he made his only free throw attempt of the night. For the Milwaukee Bucks, their leading scorer was their starting center out of Stanford, Brook Lopez. He finished with 33 points, 7 rebounds, 2 steals, and 4 blocks in 38 minutes, as he shot 14 for 18 from the field and 5 for 7 from the line. Their starting small forward, Chris Middleton, would finish with 26 points, 13 rebounds, 8 assists, and 2 steals in 45 minutes, as he shot 10 for 20 from the field and 4 for 5 from the foul line. Their starting point guard, all-defensive player Drew Holiday, would finish with 25 points, 6 rebounds, and 13 assists in 42 minutes, as he shot 9 for 20 from the field and 4 for 5 from the foul line. And then their starting center, in his very first start for the Bucks, Bobby Portis Jr., or very first playoff start for the Bucks, would finish with 22 points and 8 rebounds alongside 3 steals in 36 minutes. Bobby Portis would shoot 9 for 20 from the field. With this win, the third seed Milwaukee Bucks now hold a 3-2 series lead over the fifth seed Atlanta Hawks. The Milwaukee Bucks are now 1 game away from punching their ticket into the NBA Finals to face off against the Phoenix Suns. Game 6 will be played in Atlanta tomorrow on TNT. So right now, that is everything that's going on with the sport of basketball, as there are 3 teams competing now for the 2021 NBA Finals. And surprisingly, the Hawks are one of those teams, but still may not be for that much longer. Looking at what's going on in the Stanley Cup, today is Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Final, as it will take place in Montreal. Tampa Bay, after the Las Vegas Golden Knights, will be the second American franchise to actually play a game in Canada. So, of course, that will be pretty, I guess many people are anticipating that matchup. The Tampa Bay Lightning, the defending Stanley Cup champs and the current NHL Central Division champs, currently hold this. They're currently leading the series 2-0, as games 3 and 4 will be played in Montreal. So right now, that is what playoff hockey is looking like, and once that game is done, I'll come back tomorrow with everything that happened from it. Looking out to what's going on in the world of baseball, there were no double headers yesterday. So just starting off in Buffalo, the Toronto Blue Jays hosted the Seattle Mariners. The Mariners will pull off a 7-2 win at home, as they scored 5 of their 7 in the first 3 innings. For the Toronto Blue Jays, the start and the loss will go to their elite starting pitcher, Hyunjin Ryu. Ryu would allow 5 runs in 4 innings pitched, as he struck out 2. With this loss, Ryu is 7-5 on the year. In their batting lineup, their second baseman and all-star starter, Marcus Semien, would go 3 for 4 with an RBI and 2 runs. He would hit his 20th home run of the season. Their shortstop, Bo Bichette, would go 2 for 4 with an RBI. And then their only other player with more than 1 hit was their right fielder, Teoscar Hernandez, who would go 2 for 4. For the Seattle Mariners, the start and the win would go to Yusei Kikuchi, who would allow 1 earned run in 7 innings pitched, as he struck out 6. With this win, Kikuchi is 6-3 on the season. And then the save would go to the Mariners closer for the day, Paul Sewald. Sewald would allow no earned runs in 1.1 innings pitched, as he struck out all 4 of the batters he needed to get out. That would be his first save of the season. In their batting lineup, their designated hitter, Mitch Haniger, would go 2 for 4 with 2 runs. Their third baseman, Kyle Seager, would go 2 for 5 with 2 RBIs. And then their center fielder, Jake Fraley, would go 2 for 3 with an RBI and a run. Fraley would hit his 6th home run of the season. With this win, the Seattle Mariners are now 43-39. That is the 3rd best record in the American League West. They have now won their last 2 games and 7 of their last 10. They now currently trail the Houston Astros by 6 games in the division, and they currently trail the Oakland Athletics by 4.5 games for the American wild card, as they only trail the Cleveland Indians outside of the wild card. Jumping out to Buffalo, I guess with this loss, the Toronto Blue Jays are now 41-38. That is the third best record in the American League East. They've lost their last 2 games, and they've lost 3 of their last 10. They now trail the Boston Red Sox by 8.5 games in the division. They now trail the Oakland Athletics by 5 games in the Western Conference, or in the American League wild card race. That's what WC is. Jumping out to Boston and out to Fenway, the Boston Red Sox were able to beat the Royals 15-1 to give Nate Eovaldi his 9th win of the season. For the Kansas City Royals, the start and the loss would end up going to Kris Bubic. Bubic would allow 5 earned runs in 4 innings pitched as he struck out 3. With this loss, Bubic is 2-4 on the year. In their batting lineup, their first baseman Carlos Santana would go 2 for 3, and then their third baseman Hunter Dozier would go 2 for 4. Also, their shortstop Nicky Lopez would go 2 for 3 on the day for himself. For the Boston Red Sox, the start and the win would go to Nate Eovaldi. He allowed no earned runs in 5 innings, or in only 5 hits in 7 innings pitched as he struck out 6. With this win, Nate Eovaldi is 9-4 on the year. In their batting lineup, their center fielder Alex Verdugo would go 2 for 4 with a run. Their elite left fielder, JD Martinez, would go 2 for 4 with an RBI and 3 runs, as Martinez hit his 17th home run. Their third baseman, Rafael Devers, would go 3 for 5 with 5 RBIs and 3 runs. Devers would hit his 20th home run of the season. Their shortstop, Marwin Gonzalez, would go 3 for 4 with an RBI and 2 runs. Their first baseman, who in this matchup happened to be Danny Santana, he went 3 for 5 with 5 RBIs and a run as he hit his 3rd home run of the season. With this win, the Boston Red Sox are now 51-31. That is the best record in the American League, and win percentage-wise, it is the 2nd best record in the entire major leagues. The Red Sox have won their last 7 games, and they've won 8 of their last 10. They currently sit 3.5 games ahead of the second-place Tampa Bay Rays in the division. With this loss, the Kansas City Royals are now 33-47. That is the worst record in the American League Central, and that is currently the 3rd worst record in the American League. The Royals have lost 9 of their last 10 games, and all 9 of those 10 games that they lost were the last 9 games they played. They're on a 9-game losing streak. They currently trail the Chicago White Sox by 15 games in the division at the moment. Jumping out to Chicago, the South Side, the Chicago White Sox hosted their division rivals, the Minnesota Twins, and the White Sox were able to come back and pull off an 8-5 win after the Twins scored 4 runs in the 5th. For the Twins, the start would go to Jose Barrios. He allowed 4 runs in 5 innings pitched, and the loss would go to the Minnesota Twins' first relief pitcher, Jorge Alcala. Alcala would allow 2 earned runs in 1 inning pitched, and with this loss, he's 1-3 on the year. In their batting lineup, their elite designated hitter, on his birthday, Nelson Cruz would go 2 for 4 with an RBI, and then their right fielder, Alex Kirilloff, would end up going 2 for 4 with a run. For the Chicago White Sox, the start would go to Carlos Rodon. He would allow 4 earned runs in 5 innings pitched as he struck out 9. The win would go to the White Sox first relief pitcher, Michael Kopech. Kopech allowed no earned runs in 1 inning pitch as he was unable to strike out a batter, but he picked up his 3rd win of the season. He's 3-0 now. In their batting lineup, their third baseman, Yoan Moncada, would go 2 for 4 with a run. Their elite designated hitter, reigning American League MVP Jose Abreu, would end up going 2 for 4 with an RBI and a run. Their center fielder, Brian Goodwin, would end up going 2 for 4 with an RBI and 2 runs. He hit his 3rd home run of the season. And then their catcher, Zach Collins, would end up going 2 for 3 with 2 RBIs and a run. Collins hit his 3rd home run of the season. With this win, the Chicago White Sox are now 48-32. That is the best record in the American League Central. They are currently holding on to the 2nd seed in the American League, win percentage-wise. The White Sox have won their last 4 games. They've won 5 of their last 10. They currently sit 5 games ahead of the second-place Cleveland Indians in the division. With this loss, the Minnesota Twins are now 33-46. That is the 4th best record in the American League Central. They now trail the they've now lost their last 3 games. They've lost 5 of their last 10. They trail the Chicago White Sox by 14.5 games within the division. Jumping out to Oakland in the Bay Area, the Oakland Athletics hosted the Texas Rangers, and the Rangers were able to pull off an 8-3 win as the Rangers scored all 8 of their runs before the Athletics scored their 3 in the 8th. For the A's, the start and the loss went to Sean Manaea. Manaea allowed 4 earned runs in 5 innings pitched as he struck out 6. With this loss, Manaea is 6-5 on the season. In their batting lineup, the only player with more than 1 hit was their designated hitter, Mitch Moreland, who went 2 for 4. For the Texas Rangers, the start would go to Dane Dunning, who allowed no earned runs in 4 innings pitched as he struck out 4. The win will go to the Texas Rangers' first relief pitcher, John King, who allowed 3 total runs in 3 innings pitched as he struck out 3. But regardless, with this win, he's 6-5 on the season. In their batting lineup, their left fielder Eli White would go 2 for 5 with an RBI and a run. Their right fielder Joey Gallo would go 3 for 3 with a walk. He finished with 3 RBIs and 2 runs as Gallo hit his 20th home run of the season. Their first baseman, Nate Lowe, would go 2 for 4 with 3 RBIs and 2 runs as he hit his 11th and 12th home runs of the season yesterday. Their catcher, who in this matchup was John Hicks, went 2 for 4 with an RBI and 2 runs as Hicks hit his first home run of the season. And then their third baseman, Charlie Culberson, would go 2 for 3. With this win, the Texas Rangers are now 32-49. That is the worst record in the American League West. That is the second worst record in the American League. The Rangers have won 7 of their last 10 games, and they now trail the Houston Astros by 16.5 games in the division. With this loss, the Oakland Athletics are now 48-35. That is the second best record in the American League West and the second best record in the American League wildcard race. They now have they've lost 6 of their last 10 games. They trail the Houston Astros by 1.5 games in the division. They are sitting about even with the Tampa Bay Rays in the wildcard race, as the Rays technically have a better win percentage because they have 1 less win and 1 less loss. But the A's are also sitting 3.5 games ahead of the Cleveland Indians, the team that's the first team out looking into the American League wildcard picture. So that's where the A's sit after this loss. Jumping out to our nation's capital, the 2019 World Series champions Washington Nationals hosted the 2020 World Series champions LA Dodgers. And in a game that ended in a rain delay in 5, the Dodgers would win this game 6-2. As they scored 5 of their runs in the 5th inning, the inning that actually got rained out. They got a solo shot from A.J. Pollock to tie up the game, but then it would be a Max Muncy grand slam to give the Dodgers their 50th win of the season. For the Washington Nationals, the start and the loss went to Patrick Corbin. Corbin allowed 6 runs in 4.2 innings pitched as he struck out 2. With this loss, Patrick Corbin is 4-2 on the year. In their batting lineup, nobody on the team would finish with more than 1 hit, and that can be attributed to great pitching from LA. For the Dodgers, the start would end up going to Victor Gonzalez. Gonzalez would allow 1 earned run in 0.2 innings pitched. The win would go to the Dodgers' second relief pitcher, Tony Gonsolin, as Gonsolin allowed 1 earned run in 3 innings pitched, striking out 4. With this win, Gonsolin is 1-0 on the year. In the Dodgers batting lineup, their third baseman, Tormund Giantsbane, a.k.a. Justin Turner, would go 2 for 3 with a run. Their second baseman, Max Muncy, would go 1 for 3 with 4 RBIs and a run. As with his grand slam, he now has 42 RBIs on the season. And with this win, the Los Angeles Dodgers are now 50-31. That is the second best record in the entire National League, but it's also the second best record in the National League West, so they are sitting in the wild card race. They've won their last 6 games. In those 6 games that they won, they were the 6 games in the last 10 that they've won. They currently trail the San Francisco Giants by 0.5 game in the division, and they are holding on to the top National League wildcard spot as they sit 2 games ahead of the second place San Diego Padres at the moment. And with this loss, the Washington Nationals are now 40-39. That is the second best record in the National League East. They've lost only 3 of their last 10 games as they trail the New York Mets by 2 games in the division, just to give a sense of where the Nats are. Jumping out to Pittsburgh, the Pittsburgh Pirates hosted the Milwaukee Brewers. The Brewers were able to beat the Pirates 7-2 as 3 of their 7 came in the 9th. For the Pirates, the start and the loss will go to Will Crowe, who allowed 2 earned runs in 4.2 innings pitched as he struck out 6. With this loss, Will Crowe is 1-5 on the year. In their batting lineup, their catcher Jacob Stallings would end up going 2 for 3 with an RBI. He was the only player on the Pittsburgh Pirates with more than 1 hit, as Ben Gamel hit his 3rd home run of the season. For the Milwaukee Brewers, the start and the win will go to Corbin Burns, who allowed 1 earned run in 7.1 innings pitched as he struck out 5. With this win, Corbin Burns is 4-4 on the season. In their batting lineup, their pinch hitting third baseman Daniel Robertson would end up going 2 for 2 with an RBI and a run. He would be the only player on the team with more than one hit, which is actually kind of impressive considering he was a sub. But with this win, the Milwaukee Brewers are now 49-33. That is the best record in the National League Central. They've won their last 9 games, which is the best streak in the major leagues, better than Boston's. Boston's in second. But with this win, Milwaukee now sits 6.5 games ahead of the second place Chicago Cubs in the division. With this loss, the Pittsburgh Pirates are now 29-51. That is the worst record in the same division, the National League Central. They've lost their last 4 games. They've lost 6 of their last 10. They now trail the Milwaukee Brewers by 19 games in the NL Central, as they currently hold on to the second worst record in the entire National League. Jumping out to Cleveland, the Cleveland Indians hosted the Houston Astros. The Astros were able to pull off a 7-2 win after scoring 5 of their 7 in the 5th inning. 4 of those runs came off of a grand slam from their elite second baseman, Jose Altuve. For the Cleveland Indians, the start and the loss will go to J.C. Mejia. J.C. Mejia would allow 6 earned runs in 4 innings pitched as he struck out 3. With this loss, Mejia is 1-3 on the year. In their batting lineup, the only player with more than 1 hit was their pinch hitter, Yu Chang, their pinch hitting shortstop. He would go 2 for 3 on the day. In their for the Houston Astros, the start and the win would go to Framber Valdez, who allowed 2 earned runs in 7 innings pitched as he struck out 6. With this win, Framber is 5-1 on the season. In their batting lineup, their elite second baseman, Jose Altuve, would go 1 for 3 with 2 walks as he had 4 RBIs in a run. He would go on to hit his 18th home run of the season yesterday. And of course, I think he was not named an all-star starter this year, but still putting together a great season. Their designated hitter, Michael Brantley, would be the only player on the Astros with more than 1 hit. He would end up going 3 for 5 with an RBI and a run. He would hit his 5th home run of the season in the 7th. With this win, the Houston Astros are now 49-33. That is the best record in the American League West. They are currently holding on to the 3rd seed in the American League at the moment. The Astros have won 5 of their last 10 games as they sit a game and a half ahead of the second place Oakland Athletics in the division. With this loss, the Cleveland Indians are now 42-36. That is the second best record in the American League Central. They have lost their last 3 games and they've lost 6 of their last 10. They now trail the Chicago White Sox by 5 games in the division, and they are the first team out of the American League wild card as they trail the Oakland Athletics by 3.5 games for that second spot. Jumping out to Cincinnati, the Cincinnati Reds hosted the San Diego Padres, and the Reds were able to pull off a 5-4 win thanks to a come-from-behind win in the 9th as Kyle Farmer they would come into the bottom of the 9th trailing 4-3. Kyle Farmer's solo home run would tie the game, and then Tyler Stephenson's RBI single would win the game for the Reds with 1 out. For the San Diego Padres in this matchup, the start would end up going to Ryan Weathers. Ryan Weathers would not get the decision as he allowed 2 earned runs in 4 innings pitched. He struck out 5. The loss would go to the Padres closer, Mark Melancon, as Melancon allowed 2 earned runs in 0.2 innings pitched. He would blow his 4th save of the season, and with this loss, he's now 1-1 as the closer of the Padres. That's his first loss of the season. In their batting lineup, their first baseman Eric Hosmer will go 2 for 4 with a run. Their left fielder Jurickson Profar will go 2 for 3 with an RBI as well. With this win, for the Cincinnati Reds, the start will go to Luis Castillo. He allowed 3 earned runs in 6.1 innings pitched as he struck out 6. The win would go to the Reds closer, Art Warren. Art Warren would go on to allow no earned runs in 1 inning pitched as he struck out 3. With this win, Warren is 1-0 on the year. In their batting lineup, their second baseman, Jonathan India, will go 2 for 3 with an RBI and a run. Their catcher, Tyler Stevenson, will go 2 for 6 with an RBI. Their third baseman, who in this matchup was Alejo Lopez, would end up going 4 for 5 with 2 runs. And last but not least, their shortstop, Kyle Farmer, would go 3 for 5 with an RBI and 2 runs. He hit his 6th home run of the season. With this win, the Cincinnati Reds are now 40-40. That is the 3rd best record in the National League Central. They've won 5 of their last games, and 5 of their last 10, and they now trail the Milwaukee Brewers by 8 games in the division. With this loss, the San Diego Padres are now 49-34. That is the 3rd best record in the National League West, as they've only lost 2 of their last 10 games. They now trail the San Francisco Giants by 2.5 games in the division, and they currently trail the Los Angeles Dodgers, the World Series defending champs, by 2 games for that first wildcard spot, as the San Diego Padres are sole holders of the second spot. They sit 6 games ahead of the Chicago Cubs, the team, the next team out that's looking for that second wildcard spot, to give a sense of where the Padres are following this loss. Jumping out to Atlanta, the Atlanta Braves hosted their division rivals, the NL East leading New York Mets, and the Braves would pull off a 4-3 win in the bottom of the ninth thanks to a walk-off single from the reigning National League MVP Freddie Freeman. For the New York Mets, the start and the loss would go to the start and the no decision would go to their elite starting pitcher, Jacob deGrom. deGrom would allow 3 earned runs in 7 innings pitched as he struck out 14 batters on the day. The loss would go to their closer for the night, Seth Lugo. Lugo would allow 1 earned run in .2 innings pitched as he struck out a batter. With this loss, Lugo is 1-1 on the year. In their batting lineup, their left fielder Dominic Smith would go 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs. He hit his 7th and 8th home runs of the season yesterday. And then their catcher James McCann would go 2 for 3. For the Atlanta Braves, the start would go to Ian Anderson. He allowed 2 earned runs in 7 innings pitched as he struck out 2. The win would go to the Braves closer Will Smith as he blew his second save. He would allow 1 earned run in 1 inning pitch, striking out 2. But with this win, he is 2-5 on the season. In their batting lineup, their right fielder Edahire Adrianza would end up going 2 for 4 with a run as he subbed in for Ronald Acuna Jr. Their elite second baseman Ozzie Albies would end up going 1 for 4 with an RBI and a run. But the only player on the Braves with more than 1 hit was Adrianza. But with this win, the Atlanta Braves are now 39-41. That is the 3rd best record in the National League East. They have won their last 2 games. They've won 6 of their last 10. They now trail the New York Mets by 3.5 games in the division. With this loss, the New York Mets are now 41-36. That is the best record in the National League East. They are currently holding on to the 3 seed in the National League amongst the National League division leaders. They have lost their last 2 games, and they've lost 6 of their last 10. They now sit 2 games ahead of the second place Washington Nationals at the moment. Jumping out to Denver, the Colorado Rockies hosted the St. Louis Cardinals, and the Rockies were able to pull up a 5-2 win thanks to their 3-run walk-off home run in the bottom of the ninth from Elias Diaz. For the St. Louis Cardinals, the start would go to Adam Wainwright. He allowed 2 earned runs in 8 innings pitched as he struck out 4. The loss would go to their closer, Giovanni Gallegos, as Gallegos would allow 3 earned runs in .2 innings pitched, striking out 1. With this loss, he's 5-2 on the year. In their batting lineup, their elite first baseman, Paul Goldschmidt, would go 2 for 4 with an RBI and a run. Goldschmidt would hit his 12th home run of the season. Their left fielder, Tyler O'Neill, would go 2 for 4. And then their shortstop, Paul DeJong, would go 2 for 4 with an RBI. For the Colorado Rockies, the start went to Antonio Senzatella as he allowed 2 earned runs in 7 innings pitched, striking out 5. The win would go to the Rockies closer for the night, Daniel Bard. Bard would allow no earned runs in 1 inning pitch as he struck out 2. He's now 4-4 on the season with this win. In their batting lineup, their second baseman, Brendan Rodgers, would go 2 for 3 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs. He had his 5th home run of the season. And then their catcher, Elias Diaz, would end up going 3 for 4 with 3 RBIs and a run. He had his 5th home run of the year. With this win, the Colorado Rockies are now 35-47. That is the 4th best record in the National League West. They've won their last 4 games, and they've won 5 of their last 10. They now sit 16 full games behind the San Francisco Giants in the division. With this loss, the St. Louis Cardinals are now 40-42. That is the 4th best record in the National League Central. They have now lost 6 of their last 10 games as they now trail the Milwaukee Brewers by 9 games in the division. Last but not least, jumping out to Phoenix, the Arizona Diamondbacks hosted the National League leading San Francisco Giants, and the Diamondbacks were able to pull off a 5-3 win to pull off the win. They were able to pull off a 5-3 victory to get their 23rd win of the season. For the San Francisco Giants in this matchup, the start and the loss will go to Johnny Cueto. Cueto would allow 5 earned runs in 5 innings pitched as he struck out 5 on the day. With his loss, Cueto is 6-4 on the season. In their batting lineup, their future Hall of Fame catcher, Buster Posey, would go 2 for 4. And then their center fielder, Steven Duggar, would end up going 2 for 4 as well. For the Arizona Diamondbacks in this matchup, the start and the win would go to Merrill Kelly. Kelly allowed 3 earned runs in 7 innings pitched as he struck out 7 on the day. With this win, he's 5-7 on the year, and the save would end up going to the Diamondbacks closer, Joakim Soria. Soria allowed no earned runs in 1 inning pitch, striking out a batter. That would be his first save of the year. In their batting lineup, their right fielder, Josh Reddick, would end up going 3 for 4 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs, as he would hit his first home run of the season. He was the only player on the Arizona Diamondbacks to finish with more than 1 hit, but nonetheless, he was able to do so. With this win, the Arizona Diamondbacks are now 23-60. That is the worst record in the National League West. That is the worst record in the National League, and that is the worst record in the major leagues total. They've only won 3 of their last 10 games, as they now trail the San Francisco Giants by 28.5 games in the division. With this loss, the San Francisco Giants are now 50-30. That is the best record in the National League West, as they are currently holding the number 1 seed in the National League. They now hold the second best record in baseball to the Boston Red Sox at the moment, or they hold the best record win percentage wise. They have the second most amount of wins in baseball, tied with the Dodgers and behind the Boston Red Sox. The Giants have lost their last 4 games, and they've lost 5 of their last 10. They now sit half a game ahead of the defending champs Los Angeles Dodgers in the division, to give a sense of where the Giants are. So right now, or I guess that was what the MLB was looking like yesterday. Looking forward to what's going on today. Today is Friday, so it's not much of a travel day. So a lot of these games are going to be evening games as we enter this 4th of July weekend. At 6:05, Zach Wheeler and the Philadelphia Phillies are going to host Chris Paddock and the San Diego Padres. Zach Wheeler comes into this matchup with a 6-4 record and a 2.20 ERA. At 7:05, the Washington Nationals, led by their goated starting pitcher, Max Scherzer, are going to host the Los Angeles Dodgers, led by Julio Urias. Max Scherzer comes into this matchup with a 7-4 record and a 2.14 ERA. Julio Urias comes into this matchup with a 9-3 record and a 3.95 ERA. At the same time, at 4:05 on ESPN+, JT Brubaker and the Pittsburgh Pirates are going to host Adrian Hauser and the Milwaukee Brewers. JT Brubaker is currently holding a 4-7 record alongside a 3.82 ERA. At the same time, Jordan Montgomery and the New York Yankees are going to host Taijuan Walker and the New York Mets in the New York Showdown. Taijuan Walker enters this matchup with a 6-3 record and a 2.38 ERA. At 7:07, Alek Manoah and the Toronto Blue Jays are going to host Luis Patino and the Tampa Bay Rays in Buffalo. Manoah comes into this matchup he's 1-0 with a 3.34 ERA. Luis Patino comes into this matchup with a 1-1 record and a 3.60 ERA thus far. At 7:10, Casey Mize and the Detroit Tigers are going to host Lance Lynn and the Chicago White Sox. Mize comes into this matchup with a 5-4 record and a 3.46 ERA. Lance Lynn is currently sitting at 7-3 with a 2.06 ERA. At the same time, at 7:10, Sonny Gray and the Cincinnati Reds are going to host Alec Mills and the Chicago Cubs. Sonny Gray comes into this matchup with a 1-4 record and a 3.42 ERA. At the same time, at 7:10, Sam Hentges and the Cleveland Indians are going to host Lance McCullers Jr. and the Houston Astros. Lance McCullers enters this matchup with a 5-1 record and a 2.94 ERA. At 7:20, Drew Smyly and the Atlanta Braves are going to host Pablo Lopez and the Miami Marlins. Pablo Lopez comes into this matchup with a 4-4 record alongside a 2.87 ERA. At 8:10, Brady Singer and the Kansas City Royals are going to host J.A. Happ and the Minnesota Twins. At the same time, Chichi Gonzalez and the Colorado Rockies are going to host Johan Oviedo and the St. Louis Cardinals. At 9:38, Griffin Canning and the Los Angeles Angels are going to host Keegan Akin and the Baltimore Orioles. At 9:40, Frankie Montas and the Oakland Athletics are going to host Eduardo Rodriguez and the Boston Red Sox. At the same time, at 9:40, Zach Gallen and the Arizona Diamondbacks are going to host Alex Wood and the San Francisco Giants. Zach Gallen comes into this matchup with a 1-3 record alongside a 3.69 ERA. Alex Wood comes into this matchup with a 6-3 record and a 3.91 ERA. Last but not least, at 10:10, Logan Gilbert and the Seattle Mariners are going to host Kyle Gibson and the Texas Rangers. Kyle Gibson is one of the few surprising performances of this season. He's currently holding a 6-0 record alongside a 2-flat ERA, just to give a sense of what the Rangers are looking like. So that is what the MLB is looking like as we navigate through today, Friday, July 2nd. Last but not least, taking a quick glance of what's going on outside of the continent, starting off off in South America. It is the first two matchups of the quarterfinal stage of Copa America. At 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, Peru is going to face off against Paraguay. Peru made it in here after. So Peru versus Paraguay. That's going to be the first matchup, and then Brazil is going to face off against Chile. Brazil finishing top of their table. Chile finishing fourth in theirs. Looking at what's going on in the European Championship, it will be the first 2 of 4 matchups in the Euro 2020 quarterfinal. There are currently 8 teams competing for that title, and by the end of the day, there will be 6. At noon today, Switzerland is going to host Spain. Switzerland made it here after Switzerland was able to beat France in the first game off of penalty kicks. Spain was able to make it here after beating Croatia 5-3 in their round of 16 matchup. And then following that, Belgium is going to face off against Italy at 3 o'clock. Belgium made it here after beating Portugal 1-0 in the first round, thanks to a goal from Torgan Hazard. And then Italy was able to make it here after beating Austria 2-0, all on extra time goals, to give a sense of what that's looking like. Both of the European Championship games will be on ESPN, so of course that's a lot to look forward to. And with that said, that's everything that's going on for today, Friday, July 2nd, 2021, out here. I'm James Sims. I want to thank everyone for listening to this piece. I want to thank ESPN, the NBA, NHL, MLB, and soccer websites for giving me the facts and figures that I need in order to do this. But once again, I want to wait till all these episodes and matchups are concluded today, and I will come back tomorrow, Saturday, July 3rd, for another episode. But until then, I want to thank everyone once again for listening to this piece. I hope all is well, and peace out. I'll catch you all with another episode tomorrow.